All right, it's Friday morning and 8:22 Friday Foodies, where we always talk with local restaurateurs and chefs about their menus, their signature dishes. And this morning, very excited to have Shelly Fata from Pasta Fata in.
Thank you. I'm very excited as well.
This is great to have you. Now, Shelly, I mean, it started out as just an innocent little booth at the farmer's market that was getting raided. If you weren't there by 8 o'clock, you were getting no lasagna. And then basically the community just demanded that you build a brick and mortar. Isn't that kind of the way it went?
Yeah, that is kind of the way it went. I first was doing pop-ups at dive bars, and it was me and a deep fryer and toasted ravioli. And at some point I was like, man, I want to cook for the whole community. Everybody here is drunk. And yeah.
That's us.
Yeah. So the farmer's market was the perfect place for me to grow my business.
Well, it worked out really good. Simon Rose is joining me in studio, too, because a big fan.
Thank you.
Simon has given you another nickname, by the way.
I know you've not heard it before, but I call you guys Pasta Making Me Fata because it's just so good and I can't stop.
The brick and mortar for Pasta Fata, if you're curious, is on Rogers. It's right next to Wall. It's kind of in the building that's attached with Ozark Mountain Biscuit. And what are your hours? You're open?
Yeah, we're open 6 days a week. And so on the weekdays, we're open 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And weekends, it's 10 a.m. to 3.
How did you get started cooking?
Well, I'm the great-granddaughter of 4 Sicilian immigrants. So food was like religion for my family, and my grandparents had a big garden. I grew up eating what they grew, and I realized, I think when I got to college, that I was different than my roommates because they had Velveeta and white bread, and I had 7 different kinds of local cheese.
Right. Now, when I mentioned that you were going to be on the show, earlier this morning, Kevin Walsh was in doing his bit, and I mentioned Pasta Fata is coming in. He immediately went into a monologue about the cookies and how they're the greatest cookies ever made. I've heard this before, people love the cookies.
I'm so glad.
But they're a little different than other cookies, aren't they?
I think they are, and I've eaten them my whole life, and my dad has eaten them his whole life, all my cousins and aunts and uncles, because my grandmother, Josephine Fata, she was a home baker, and she wrote those recipes in the 1940s and 50s. So I have them all in her handwriting.
So you're telling me that you don't have any formal culinary...
I do. My college roommates talked me into... When everybody says you should go to culinary school, I'm like, okay, I'll go to culinary school.
You should do it. Yeah. And so where'd you go?
I went to Austin, Texas. I went to a plant-based school. So I really specialize in what's growing fresh in the garden, and now for a long time I worked with mostly plant-based foods, but now I'm friends with all of our local meat farmers.
We've got some great vegan dishes, of course.
I do.
Absolutely, yeah. My wife's a vegetarian, and that's the other reason she loves the stuff you do. And Mo, Shelley, what was interesting is my brother lived in Naples in southern Italy for 13 years, and he's a great cook. What you said is exactly right. Now, even when you go to his place now, he lives back in England, but he'll just grab local produce and then he'll just whip something up.
Yep.
Very often pasta based, and he learned it all pretty much in Naples.
That's the Italian way.
Yeah.
Now, your brick and mortar has all kinds of, you can get food that's cooked and ready to eat right there. I mean, you've got tables, and it's a restaurant, but also you have a lot of frozen, pre-prepared dishes. Some of my favorites. I'm going to say your raviolis are really incredible. I mean, with the meatball, the mushroom cap raviolis, and my absolute favorite is the beef short rib raviolis. Why have you done that to me, Shelley? Those are so good. Also, in the meatball sub. That was the special last week. Is that like a regular? Can I get that anytime? Or is the meatball sub kind of one of the specials that cycles in?
It is a special that cycles in, but I think it's time that it become an everyday menu.
Oh, here to that, right, Mo?
Fantastic. It's so good.
Yeah.
Oh. Also, Italian wines. You guys have a great selection of Italian wines as well.
Absolutely.
Who selects that? Do you?
I do, and I work with a wine rep, and also my business coach is a sommelier. So we have a big catalog that we flip through, and we try to feature the different regions of Italy, different flavor profiles.
And you can pick that all up in the shop as well.
Yeah.
All right. We're talking with Shelley LaFata of Pasta LaFata. The shop is on Rogers next to Waltz. We got to take a quick break here and pay some bills. Can you stick around?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we're going to be right back, and we'll talk more with Shelley LaFata, get to talk about her signature dish, the Italian dinner series, and some of her catering options as well. This is Friday Foodies on 102.3 BXR. Shelley LaFata's here from Pasta LaFata, so we're talking Friday Foodies and talking about Pasta LaFata. What would you say is your signature dish? Is there one?
Yeah, it's really tricky. I can't even pick a favorite color, but I think, my signature dish must be sauce making. And that's a real passion of mine. I say there's endless possibilities, and we change the menu all the time because the seasons are changing. What's freshest is changing. So developing sauces.
And you incorporate a lot of local produce as well, right?
I do. We work with over 50 different farms throughout the year, and I'm always in communication with the farmers, and that's how we plan everything, our events, our menus.
And do you do catering as well?
I do some catering. Yeah, we tonight we're catering for a women's soccer team who's visiting town.
Oh, very good. Yeah. Memphis. Probably. That's right. Yeah,
that's right.
They're coming in for the game on Sunday. Very good. And then I wanted to ask you about this too, because I noticed it on the website, and I've seen you promote it a couple of times on social media, but the Italian dinner series, this is something separate from what you're doing. This is is it you sign up, or is it by invite? What's the deal?
Yeah, the dinner series was developed in December 2022 because we were 6 months into the new restaurant, and lunch and dinner just weren't cutting it. We needed more revenue. So I said, let's sell tickets. Let's plan an event. The regions of Italy, there are 20, and they weren't unified, for most of history. They were very separate, and their culinary traditions are very unique. You do not find spaghetti and meatballs and lasagna and, the same dishes everywhere you go. When you go to a different region, the menu looks completely different from the last. So we're learning about that. And every month we feature a different region, and we make 8 unique dishes, and we pair it with their wines. So it's really an experience.
Right.
It's family style. We have a lot of repeat guests who are all in.
I've noticed that it sells out kind of quick. A lot of times.
Yeah, it does. It does. And it's become such a fun labor of love for me and my team, my staff. They all want to work it. I talk a lot to the guests. I come out in between every course and I clink my glass and I tell a story about the history of this dish and where we got the ingredients and how we made it. It's really fun.
It's a dining experience.
It is an experience, absolutely. And I love it.
What's the deal with overalls day?
Yeah. Well, we've got a really creative, fun group at Pasta LaFata. And gosh, I think we're just inspired by each other. So one of our teammates a year and a half ago started wearing overalls to work. We were like, that's so cool.
I love overalls.
You look so cool. So we decided let's all wear overalls tomorrow. And it became a thing, Overalls Friday.
I bought a pair of overalls about 2 years ago and started wearing them. And I got those kind of comments that I did not expect. I did not expect people to like them as much. All right. We're talking with Shelley LaFata of Pasta LaFata. Her brick and mortar shop now is on Rogers, right next to Waltz. All right, Shelley, time for me to ask the question at the end of we we interview all these local restaurateurs and chefs, and at the end we like to ask, who else in town do you think is doing a great job of this? Name another restaurateur that you think is just killing it out there.
Cherry Street Cellar, I love. Yeah, but I'm a huge local foodie, and the chefs are my friends, and I feel like they're my colleagues and my mentors too. And throughout the history, the growth of my business, I've reached out to them and they've reached out to me, and I feel like I can really depend on them and ask them questions. Amanda Elliott from Beatbox too. I love her.
Very
love her
good.
food. Yep.
Nice. A number of people have mentioned you, by the way, when I asked that question
thank you.
of them earlier this year. Shelley Fata of Pasta Fata, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Mo. It's a real
Pretty-
pleasure.
It's
Very fun.
great talking to you.
Thank
I've been
you.
looking forward to it.